Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this live stream. I'm just going to be doing a standard Q&A live stream, having a chat with you guys. It's just about to be Ramadan. Ramadan is upon us. We have this month of hope, this month of mercy, this month in which we want to create habits which are going to change us as individuals. And we know that this is a month in which the gates of Jannah are open, the gates of hellfire are closed. This is a month in which we should make drastic changes in our lives and try to be better people. I'm going to be posting a link for people to join. So, how's everyone doing? I am so happy it's a blessing to be able to talk to people online. It's always like it's like a gift, and you don't know what's inside, because the person you're going to talk to, they could be from Timbuktu, they could be from Karachi, they could be from Malaysia, right, Congo, anywhere. So it's nice to talk to you guys, and as always, we can talk about atheism, we can talk about evolution, we can talk about philosophy in general. We stay away from topics which are to do with inter-Muslim issues or anything about Islamic rulings, anything like that. Go to someone else for that. I'm just here to talk to you about the dawah. So, Assalamu alaikum to Said Sina, Layan Faras, Abu Yusuf Suman, Hashim Awan, Rahim Majboor. Assalamu alaikum. Can you give a summary of the hard problem of consciousness? Come on, man. We're just getting this live stream started. Start off with the easy question. Okay, where are you guys calling in from? That's an easy question. Zili Subhan saying salam. Wa alaikum salam. Propositional logic. Hijab has something on Sapiens Institute for that, so you can look that up. I'm from Finland. We need dawah here. Okay, good. So why don't you guys set up a dawah mission, right? Just email at info@ira.org and set up a dawah mission. Vienna, Seattle, nice. Seattle. Oh, our brother Carl, mashallah, may Allah bless you. Always nice to have you join us. How do you get rid of doubts of God's existence stemming from the topic of evolution? Well, you get rid of them by understanding that evolution should not make you doubt the existence of God. That's it. So anybody who's claiming evolution undermines the existence of God, the onus is on them to make arguments, not on us. Beautiful brother, young brother Jan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can, I'll in fact WhatsApp you the link if you want to join me, Jan. Nice to get you to join the stream as well. Alrighty. Sure, I'll join for a bit. Fantastic. Okay, guys. Sending the link to our brother Jan, who's going to be joining us soon, inshallah. Always lovely to speak to him. And while that is going on, brothers and sisters, I just want to give everybody a reminder. It is Ramadan, and Ramadan is the month of what exactly? What do we do in the month of Ramadan? We get close to the Quran, we read the Quran, we should be building our relationship with the Quran at a significant level compared to the rest of the year. And we should be having these regular habit building we should basically build habits to be connected with the Quran. And one of the best ways currently is that we all have these smartphones. We all have these phones. Most of us have been, using these phones since we were maybe teenagers. So why not download the Quranly app? This is an app that I use, I love, I promote. This app is being used all across the world now. You'll find Mufti Menk, you'll find Ali Dawah, you'll find all these people promoting it. Fantastic app. Download it, build your relationship with the Quran. And I give everybody a target for this Ramadan. I know it sounds very simple, but between now and the beginning of Ramadan, which is like 5 days, just read 3 verses a day. That's it. I mean, how long does it take? You take out your phone, you go to the Quranly app. Here we are. You go to the Quranly app, and yeah, there you go. Start reading. You can track everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful app. So make sure you do that. And our brother Carl, mashallah, is going to go to Umrah. While performing Umrah, can we make dua in English if we cannot do the Arabic? Of course, you can make dua in all languages, because Allah is the originator of all languages. Reject phone, too many distractions. Okay, do you know what? This is true. This is a good mindset to have. But I just want to say something, right? It's not, we need to be practical here. How many of us have the willpower to give up the phone, give it up completely? Majority, no. So why not have habits and habit building apps like Quranly, so that when you are using your phone, you actually have a way of connecting with the Quran. You have reminders about the Quran. Like every single time you pick up your phone, it's not just zombie scrolling. You can actually read the book of Allah. Okay, Layan Firas has a question. Let's look at his question. But mic only is cool. I can't join with camera. Okay, that's fine. Assalamu alaikum, brother. What's your stance on sapiens and Neanderthal interbreeding? Struggling with that issue lately. I'm only going to give you some speculative thoughts. These are not things that I'm concrete, I'm set in. Firstly, are Neanderthals part of Bani Adam? I don't know. I actually don't know. Neanderthals are not Neanderthals, like from what we've been taught about them as being, really backward and, not really having that much cognitive ability.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Jan. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
I'm good as well. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Sorry I couldn't connect my video, my camera, I mean.
That's fine.
It's because my Wi-Fi is not working right on my phone, so I can't connect it as a camera.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So what are you up to nowadays, man? You made a really nice video recently.
Yeah.
That was a funny time. Yeah, it was. Go on, give us a bit of an introduction of that video.
All right, so basically there was this song by this guy called Sai 10. He basically just said a bunch of goofy things about Islam, and there were 23 things, so I just kind of debunked them all in 37 minutes. Took a while, but yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah, I spent so long on that video, man. It was really hard, but thing is, none of the arguments on there were that problematic. It was just lots of little things I just painstakingly go through.
Good.
Yeah, what have you been working on recently, brother?
I was in Mongolia. I just came back from Mongolia. Yes, that was a very interesting trip. So while people are here, what I really like about your videos is just how many cuts you have. And even though like the camera equipment's very basic, a lot of people they like this sort of approach of where you cut off to different scenes and stuff like that. And you've broken it off in minutes as well, which is very useful, mashallah. And this video,
Oh, you're not subscribed.
sorry,
You're not subscribed.
am I not subscribed?
No, it says there.
There we go. Bismillah. Yes.
About time.
Yeah, I'm actually subscribed on my official YouTube channel, but it's this
Oh.
This other email that I logged into now.
All right. Okay.
So
I see.
this is brother Jan's channel. Mashallah. I think he's you're 16 still?
Yes. Yes. 16, I know.
Mashallah, 16. And you're making videos about Islam. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to show people some of the videos on your channel. You made one about music, Islam and evolution, 23 criticism of the Quran, slavery in Islam, how to make dua. You made a recent video clearing up some confusion regarding evolution. So I haven't actually seen that video. What was that about?
So some people were saying in the comments that belief in evolution is kufr, and they also said that believing that Adam came from evolution is kufr. So I just explained that I didn't say that in the video. I explicitly stated that Adam was miraculously created.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what people get confused about is the word evolution. So evolution as a basic concept has been known and written and theorized about for thousands of years, right? The basic idea of evolution is not problematic. What we don't accept is that Adam alayhi salam had primate ancestors. That's a red line for us. We don't accept that. But when it comes down to humans adapting to the environment or adapting the environment to their needs, all of these types of evolutionary processes, it's not a problem. It's never been a problem. I think what happens sometimes is people don't pay attention to the details of what you're saying. They just look at the way that you're speaking about a topic. And if you say, for example, that Darwin's theory is a scientific theory, that's enough for people to think that you've done kufr. They don't really understand what you're trying to do. And I had this experience when I had a debate with Professor Jeremy, a discussion, Professor Jeremy Pritchard. This is Birmingham University. So he's an evolutionary professor. And we had this discussion on, does evolution undermine God, right? So I gave all the reasons why it doesn't undermine God. He gave all the reasons why it does not undermine God. We both agreed with each other it doesn't undermine God. So it was actually a discussion where we agreed that the common sort of ways that new atheists are using evolutionary theory to undermine God's existence don't make any sense, right? However, afterwards, I remember this person just could not accept me saying Darwin's theory is a valid scientific theory. Like that for them, as for that Muslim brother, he just could not accept I said that. Again, it's the problem of scientism. Then they think that just because something is mentioned to be science, therefore we're saying it's true.
Yeah.
They think rationality and truth and science and truth is all one thing.
Yeah. I don't blame people. Not everyone's like up to date with the scientific method and stuff. But yeah.
Definitely. So in regards to you at the moment, you're going to be probably going to universities, or you're doing A-levels right now, right?
Yes.
So what topics are you?
What topics? I'm doing biology, chemistry, psychology. I'm also gonna do Polish. That doesn't really count because that's not my native language.
There you go.
I wanted to do Spanish as well, but I'm not good enough at Spanish to do an A-level on it.
You know what? If you learn Spanish, inshallah, I'll take you to Latin America.
Wait, yo hablo español, pero no mucho. ¿Y tú?
Okay, how about this?
Uh-huh.
How about this as a challenge, right? As soon as you hit 18, because right now you're 16, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you're 18 and you can travel without your, because at the moment you can't travel.
No, I can.
Oh, being 16, you can travel under your
passport.
I
can travel all on my own.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought 16 was too young to travel. So let's put it this way, right? So as soon as it's 2024 right now. 2025, inshallah, 2025, before the end of 2025, inshallah, I'll take you to Latin America.
Bro, that would be so cool, bro. I've never been to any Spanish-speaking countries. Always wanted to go there.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, man.
Inshallah, we'll take you.
Inshallah.
So I have a year and approximately 9 months to fulfill my promise now. I'll set it up, inshallah.
Okay, that'd be cool.
You know, sometimes in life, like, you know, you can't, what's it called? You kind of have to aim high. So, you know, I like doing these things where I make promises to people and it's public, and then I have to do it.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, you know, Ali Dawa made a promise saying that if I ever come down to London, we'd get some Japanese food. I'm still waiting on that, you know.
Oh no, I mean, if you come down London, then we'll
Yeah.
hook up, inshallah. Ali,
All right.
you know, he's one of these few brothers. I mean, a lot of the brothers are very busy. They're sincere in what they're doing. It's not like they don't have time for people. But Ali's one of those people I've seen. He'll actually give people real time. Like he'll give them, especially reverts. He will give people a lot of time. So if you come down, you WhatsApp me, and I'll arrange it with him. We'll go out for some. I mean, you said Japanese. I'll order.
That's what he said. But isn't seafood haram, like makruh or something, or is that a difference in opinion?
No. Everything in the sea is halal.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good because I really like seafood.
That's good. So I mean, I've even had you can have these sort of eels. They taste quite nice.
Yeah, I've never had eel. I had octopus one time though.
Oh man, why would you eat that?
I don't know. My dad just bought it. I was like, yeah, let's have some.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't eat that. I wouldn't really eat that. So,
it's just
for the purposes of dawah, put it this way: you're going to learn Spanish for the purpose of dawah, and that means every single time you're learning Spanish, you'll be rewarded. And then when we go to Latin America, you can speak to people in Spanish, and we don't need a translator.
Yeah, that'd be, you know, I should probably make that my intention. I didn't realize I could do that. Yeah, I've been thinking I'm doing it for fun, but I guess that'll give me more motivation if I think of it like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Absolutely. Inshallah. I'm working on Arabic right now, actually, too.
You're working on what, sorry?
Learning Arabic, but I only know how to read it so far, and like a few words.
Okay, mashallah. And how are you learning?
Duolingo, just same with Spanish. People diss it, but it actually works over time.
No, definitely. The thing with these languages is if you learn them when you're young, it's actually a lot easier.
Yeah, it is actually.
When you get older, it gets a little more difficult.
Yeah, so I'm very happy at myself that I started early. It's one of those things that a while ago I just wanted to say, oh yeah, I'm young, so I might as well optimize myself. So I started doing it. And I think if anyone at my age started doing these kinds of things, like working on mental health or learning a language at a young age, it'll like boost your brain, bro. It actually works, you know.
Oh, that's true. There's actually, while you're talking, I'm gonna try and find a study about brain development and learning a new language, because I remember there was this brother who studied at Cambridge. He's got, mashallah, a PhD in some biology related topic, and he told me about this, that about learning languages and the impact it has on your brain when your early development.
Yeah, I heard that a kid could be like quadringual. How do you say it again? A kid can know 4 languages from like 2 years of age if they just are surrounded by them. It's really cool.
Okay, so I'm doing this live. I didn't actually prepare, so I'm just going to put up the link, and maybe it's going to refute me, or the link's going to tell me actually what's going on. So this is Cambridge, some site. Where am I? Oops. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
People learn a new language for all sorts of reasons, to work, blah, blah, blah. Neurological perspective on language learning. How language learning boosts other skills. Interesting.
Hmm.
Better academic performance, improved concentration, better memory. People can make all sorts of claims. Let's look up the references. There's no references. Oh, interestingly, this is actually a website of Cambridge. They must have references in this. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. They've embedded it rather than actually put the references at the bottom. You click on the points and it takes you to the scientific paper.
Mm-hmm.
So empathy and second language learning.
I can't see the actual study now. I'm only on the page that's on there.
No, that's fine. I think, what am I doing? Oh, I'm not even, okay. I thought I was sharing the actual study, but it went to a new page. And can you see that now?
Yes.
Empathy and second language learning by Alexander. Yeah. Wow. It's old. This study reported here represents the culmination of the development and application of a research strategy, blah, 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 blah. Reasoning tests of intelligence and a simple but apparently effective measure of motivation provide, we believe, a major contribution to prediction of pronunciation ability. Interesting.
Pronunciation ability.
Yeah, but it's also to do, there's also some link to do with empathy. And that's, yeah.
SubhanAllah.
Our concern has chiefly been to apply this strategy to the concept of empathy, choosing as the transposed realm of behavior language in particular. Interesting. Very interesting. This measure, which proved to be the most successful in predicting, was micro. Right, this is worth looking into. Isn't that interesting? Let me see what other papers they have. Okay, there's another paper they have about memory, how your memory is impacted by language. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you think about it, if you're going to learn a new language, it's going to change your brain, isn't it?
Yeah, it opens more neurological links and that kind of stuff. Makes you remember more words too. So
this is 2012, right?
Okay, that's good.
The ability to remember events referred to as episodic memory is typically subject to decline in older adulthood, right? Decline has been attributed to less blah, 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 blah. Results indicate that extensive practice controlling two languages may benefit memory in older adults.
Wow.
Well, it definitely has an impact on younger people by the sounds of it, but it impacts older people as well.
By the time I'm 50, I'm trying to know 10 languages, inshallah. Maybe that'll help me out.
You should aim for before you're 40. You know, I was looking up something interesting about the prefrontal cortex, right? So you must have heard this thing that the prefrontal cortex develops until you're like 25. It's a very common understanding, right? So I found this really fascinating some recent development in this particular area, which is that the prefrontal cortex, or the development of it in human beings, is far slower than that in chimpanzees, right? So a young chimpanzee baby is far more intelligent than a human baby. So you know, we would think, no, the human baby is like, you know, way more smarter than chimp baby, but no. So what actually happens is that the children of the chimps, they basically develop much faster and they sort of flatline. They don't develop beyond a certain time. Human babies actually don't develop that fast, but they develop for a longer period. And your prefrontal cortex, it was believed, does not stop you know, developing until you're 25. Now, most recent studies have shown that actually it keeps developing until you're close to 40 years old.
Wow.
So you're not even a full adult until you're about 40.
Yeah, so I will aim for until 40. But
Yeah,
I heard something similar before, that you know how when animals are born, usually they're able to walk, they're able to communicate and stuff just after being born. With humans, we're like born a lot less developed, because if we were more developed in the womb, our heads would be too big,
yeah,
and then it would be really bad.
yeah. And so what it is the animals develop faster, but they don't develop that many abilities. We develop far slower. So they did this study where they took a toy or some sort of object and they put it in a drawer and they shut the drawer, and the human baby couldn't actually tell that it was still there. So when the drawer shut, the baby thought it's gone, but the chimp knew that if you open the drawer, it's there again. So I've forgotten what I've read this years ago, and so our ability to develop, even though it sounds just like ridiculous, like from a logical point of view, that why is it taking so long? If you actually think about it, there's a lot of wisdom in that, because you're developing according to your environment. You're not just like, if you think about it, these gazelles, when they're born, you must have seen these videos. As soon as they're born, they start walking. You might have seen with some animals. Sharks, right? Some sharks kill in the womb before they're born, so they're unborn killers, right? They start killing even before doing that.
Well, how are they killing in the womb?
Their siblings.
Oh.
When they start attacking them. So what's interesting is that human beings, we will develop slowly and we will develop over a long period of time. And, people say this, like I was speaking to someone and they said that, they're close to 50 now and they feel they weren't even an adult until they were 40. Because we may look like adults when they're like 25 or whatever, but, there's a huge difference between the behavior of people when they hit 40 and the behavior of people before they're 40. So between the age of, say, 21 and 40, which is a good 19-20 years, people act very differently, which is why sometimes when I think about it, the most powerful thinkers, philosophers, theologians, sociologists, they're actually really old. Especially philosophers. Some of the best philosophers in the world, they're coming out with their most extraordinary pieces of work late in their age. It's not, when they're young, they're putting out all these things. So wisdom is definitely linked to your cognitive development.
That's so interesting. I always heard the opposite, that, your brain starts deteriorating as you get older. That's very interesting.
That is the common understanding. In terms of certain cognitive abilities, they do slow down, right? However, in terms of your other paradigms of thinking are unlocked. A way of thinking about it is that when a person's young, they're focusing on more of the immediate. And in fact, they're more likely to be indulging in instant gratification and these types of things. As you get older, you start thinking about habits, habit building, willpower, culture. You start thinking, in a way, when you're young, it's kind of like this is all you can see. And as you get older, it starts to broaden. That's the way, I would put it.
Yeah, I fully agree. I can't wait to get older so I can think better.
So someone wrote here, kangaroo babies walk up inside their mother's pocket to drink the milk despite never seeing where the nipples are. In addition, the mother can't move after birth. Looks designed to any thinking person. Interesting. Allahu Akbar. Well, you're going to be learning some of these interesting facts, or at least getting some preliminary understanding of them, because you're going to be doing psychology and biology.
Yeah.
And psychology in particular, My sister actually did psychology. She's, very much into it still. I mean, that's what she's doing her master's in as well. And she used to tell me about these like weird studies to do with like feral children. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I'm doing that now. Actually, the Romanian orphanages.
Oh, really? Please,
Crazy.
please tell us about that. That is so interesting.
So, well, I wouldn't say the studies I was doing they were feral, but they had really weird attachment, right? Because when someone's a child and they're in a Romanian orphanage, there's not really a parental figure they can make an attachment with. They're just kind of in bad conditions and stuff. So later on in life, once they get adopted, they just can't form attachments. They're antisocial, attention-seeking, unusual, that kind of stuff. As for feral children, I don't know if I've covered that yet, but maybe I have, maybe I forgot. I don't know.
This is those children who were raised by wolves, was it? I think it was.
Wolves. I may have heard something on that, but we may have not done it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, in psychology, there's so many like such weird studies. Like, I'm not even going to get into it, but some of them are just so like
Bizarre.
they don't make sense. Anyone who does A-level psychology probably knows what I'm on about.
Yeah. So the feral children I was referring to, just found an article on it. So interesting. See, this is the thing with the internet, right? When you have a bit of spare time, you can go down a rabbit hole and another rabbit hole and another rabbit hole. So the children raised by wolves. Okay, this is actually I think it's an audio. We need to find some sort of article in it about it. Yeah, this is it.
I'm alone. Come on. No, I've not seen this one.
Can you see this screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Feral child is a human child who has lived away from human contact from a very young age and has little or no experience of human care, loving or social behavior, and crucially, human language. Feral children are confined by humans, often parents, raised by animals, or isolated in the wild. Probably the best known story of feral children is that of two girls, Amala and Kamala, who were raised by a she-wolf. In 1920, as the story goes, Reverend A.J.L. Singh saw another wolf and cubs, two of them who had long matted hair and looked human. After considerable preparations and difficulties, the two human creatures were captured. They turned out to be two girls whose ages were assessed by Singh at about 8 years and 1.5 years. And they were basically acting like wolves. The creatures were taken to an orphanage in India where the Reverend and his wife were stationed. Singh described them as wolfish in appearance and behavior. They walked on all fours, calluses on their knees and palms from doing so. They were fond of raw meat and stole it when the occasion offered. They licked all liquids with their tongues and ate their food in a crouched positions. Their tongues permanently hung out of their thick red lips, and they panted just like wolves. They never slept after midnight and prowled and howled at night. Allahu Akbar.
That is so crazy.
That is crazy.
I have trouble believing that. Like, I thought some of human behavior is like ingrained in us, but I guess not.
I mean, so this is very interesting, right? The distinction between nature and nurture. There's always this argument, and it's both. We're not, we're not born with a blank slate. It's not a tabula rasa, right? We have these cognitive mechanisms which are inbuilt, and this is not just in us, it's also in other animals. I'm sure you've heard of imprinting, where a new say duckling is born, and the first thing it sees, it thinks, mother, that's my mother, that's it, right? It could be anything, right?
We did study the other day.
So, huh?
Yeah, we learned about this study the other day in psychology.
Oh, the imprinting.
Imprinting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. So we have a lot of things inbuilt with us. I mean, we have phobias of certain things, right? Human beings are generally scared of certain things. There's certain colors which actually cause us discomfort.
Really? Which was that?
Yellow, for example, and yellow in nature you will find associated with toxins and poison and this type of stuff. Green is a color which actually makes babies quite calm. There's a study I was reading a few years ago about how if you put a child in a room that's yellow, they're more likely to cry than a room that's like green and stuff. So there's a lot of these very interesting,
Yeah.
cognitive things,
I heard
which
the
are
same thing about green, that it's like the calmest color on your eyes. It's very cool how green's like also kind of the color of Islam. That can't be a coincidence, right?
yeah. Well, you have to remember that Allah mentions green a lot in the
Mhm.
Quran because He mentions Jannah, right? And
Oh
in
yeah.
Jannah he mentions a lot of greenery. So
Hmm.
green is something which it's not. I mean, it's not just one color. You have to remember there's so many shades of green. You can literally take a library and take an entire room and take all of your furniture and just color it green, but all different shades of green. Like, and there's many different shades which bring out that there's a type of peacefulness that you feel when you're around green. Like all you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to be in a green room and
My walls are green actually. Maybe that's why my videos do well.
yeah. Sabur, do you know about the Parmigian effect? The theory suggests that if we hold positive expectations of someone, they're more likely to live up to those expectations. Vice versa. Hmm. Interesting. I don't know. Never come across that.
That was my friend Nasser, by the way. Shout out to
Sorry,
Nasser. That was my
Nasser.
friend. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you can ask him to. Maybe we can ask him to post that study. We can look at it.
Oh yeah, yeah, Nasser. Send the link, bro. That reminds me actually. Do you know about the Zipf's law?
No.
So it's like a law of the distribution of words in any text, in any language. It'll be, I forgot the exact details of it, but there's like a specific distribution of the frequency of words. Like the most common word in a book, the
Yeah.
second most common word in a book will have half the frequency of that. The third most common word will have a third. The fourth will have a quarter, and so on, right? But it was found, actually, apparently, that the Quran doesn't follow this. So I found that really interesting. It could prove that the Quran is actually not man-made. Very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Mhm. It's
What's that called again?
Zip, ZIPF, Zipf's Law Quran. I think there's a study on it, maybe. I don't
Um,
know.
I know a guy who researches Quranic miracles, and the good thing about him is that he's very thorough. So what
Mhm.
he'll do is someone will come to him with mathematical miracles of the Quran or whatever it is, and then he'll rip through it. He'll be like, "No, we can't use that because it's inconsistent here. It's this that." Then he'll and he's he writes and stuff and produces videos, and he knows how to bring out the best and most substantial arguments for the Quran. And maybe if I give you his number, you can send him what the argument is and he could try and poke holes into it, because fundamentally we want to put the strongest arguments out there. We don't want to put an argument that later on we find out there's problems with it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, there's these Instagram posts that's like the goofiest thing. Like this word is mentioned this many times, and there's this many words in this surah, blah blah. You know, it's just yeah, you're just waffling.
Yeah, I mean, some things I would say are just complete waffle.
Yeah.
They're just whatever. Some things are interesting, right? So for example, the mentioning of Musa, right, Moses,
Mhm.
being so frequent in the Quran. Some scholars said in the past that the Quran could be, we could call it the Book of Moses, right? It's just the story of Moses. It comes again and again and again and again. So there must be a reason why this is coming up again. And then there's certain things I saw with the mentioning of the word sea and the word land, and how the word sea is mentioned way more than the word land. So and someone did a percentage of this, and then he said, um, you know, he correlated it to the land sea mass, and it turned out to be the. So these things, they need to be investigated, and we need to make sure that they're correct. But if they are, then we should use them because they are, they are quite
Yeah.
interesting.
That reminds me, one time I saw like the goofiest thing. It said, actually, I don't know if this is true. It might be. I don't know. But it said that the word day is mentioned 365 times in the Quran. And I just thought, isn't the Islamic year a different amount of time? So why would they do the Gregorian one? Yeah.
Say that again, please, Jan. I didn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah, I'll repeat. So I saw an Instagram post that said the word day is mentioned 365 times. And I was confused because
Oh
the
yeah,
Islamic calendar is a different length, you know?
yeah. I mean, yeah. So some of these things, they don't make any sense. I came across something many years ago where somebody was they were using the Quran and using certain words and using the word light and using numbers to actually calculate the speed of light.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
just
saw
so
that.
ridiculous. Why? What were they thinking? But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so bad because when people do this, they think, "Oh, I'm doing so good for the ummah," but then someone debunks it, and then it decreases people's demand.
That is so true. That is so true. Have you heard of the golden ratio? It's about an irrational number which can be found in plants, animals, humans, architecture. Interesting. I have actually heard of this. I haven't looked into it in any detail. Have you heard of this? The
Oh,
golden
me?
ratio.
Yeah, I learned about it in maths. It was quite interesting. Yeah, I would have to look into it. But if this is like actually in nature, then I think that could be an ayat.
Hmm.
That was also my friend, by the way. That was Mohammed.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, yeah, my friends are watching. Mashallah.
Mashallah. You should get your friends together and make a group where you guys research a topic together and then
Oh
come
yeah.
together and look at whether this could be used for Islam or whether it's a strong argument. When we do our sort of debates, when one of the brothers is doing a debate, we do this. We do these sessions where everyone comes together, and then there's like a practice session, and then it's also like, okay, he's going to make these points. Okay, what do you think about this point? You have to do this shura type of thing. It's not just about just winging it. Um, there's a lot of benefit in this type of consultation, and sometimes because of just the way we've been raised to be quite individualistic, we forget in Islam there's um, so much emphasis on consulting each other, right? Even if you look at the lives of the Sahaba and you look at the lives of the Prophet ﷺ, you know, there's a lot of this. Like people are very social. Islam's a very social religion if you think about it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's like you go in the woods and you just like stay in the cave and you just meditate on your own. Islam doesn't say that. Islam says you go to the mosque. Islam rewards the person who gives salam first, right?
Mhm.
And I was thinking about this. In a total Islamic sort of society, you should have a mosque within walking distance. Like if you go to a Muslim country, normally any Muslim country like Pakistan, Morocco, Egypt, whatever, Sudan, you'll find that there is a mosque within a 1 minute walk from your house. This is like standard across the Muslim world. It's not like, oh, let's go to the mosque 10 minutes down walking distance. It's literally there's a mosque on every street corner, right? Every major street corner. So, a mosque. you pray, the natural thing you're going to do is, hi, how are you? Oh, how's your son? Oh, you know, this thing happened, that thing happened, whatever. Islam, in a way, forces you as a human to not only collectively have that, you know, pray, but it creates these habits where you are bound to be more social. Because if you think about it, in a place like London, there are huge social problems linked to individualism, including the problem of loneliness. And loneliness is actually a big problem in many major cities. But if you think about it, in Muslim major cities, loneliness is not such a problem. And I've seen this. I've seen this in Muslim countries where everybody gathers in a local mosque. And after the mosque, they're having a chit chat, and you meet people that you don't normally know, right? Everyone knows, oh, this guy passed away in this area, and everyone goes to their funeral. Oh, this person needs help, right? So Islam has that powerful sociality, which I don't think other religions have.
Yeah, I actually found the same thing as I was researching for my fasting video. I'm working on a video about that. I found that fasting actually increases some of the neurotransmitters that are linked with being social, like oxytocin, uh, cortisol's decreased, uh, you know, so it's really cool. There's a whole biological factor to it as well.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Sociality also affects your brain's development. You know that, right? Like
Yeah.
you've heard of these studies to do with longevity and sociality. Have you heard of these?
Could you repeat that?
So there are studies linking sociality with
Mm-hmm.
longevity. As in, if people live in places where there's more social activities, where people are more bonded closely, like some village in Italy, right, where everybody knows each other, or even could be whatever, right? Places where there's a lot of sociality, there's a longer life expectancy. Have you heard of this before?
Wow. I have, yeah. The thing when I heard about it, it was they were debunking it. They were saying that it's not a correlation. It's just, I mean, it's not a causation. It's a correlation because if you're with people, you're more likely to be diagnosed or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
yeah. I mean, there's a counter argument to be made there to this sort of
Yeah.
point, which is a lot of these communities, which I think they call them blue spot communities or something. A lot of these communities are actually in poorer parts of the world. So it's not like, oh, you're meeting up someone more frequently. Oh, you've got COVID. Okay, go get a test done. None of that nonsense, right? It's actually to do with you are in these communities where people are poorer, they have more free time, there's not as much, it's not as industrialized, and your brain's being used all the time. I mean, think about it. Dementia and all these types of mental health, sort of all these issues that are rising up nowadays, these are linked to not only your nutrition, but it's also linked to your sociality. So people live on their own, their children want to put them in old folks' homes. Why else do they mentally get worse over time? Right?
Yeah.
We have to keep these things in mind as well.
Mm-hmm. Brother, it's been very nice, but it's almost my bedtime, so so
Great speaking to you. Great speaking to you. Next time, inshallah, I'll send you the link if you're available. So, brothers and sisters, this is our brother Jan. Please
yeah.
make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's a really young brother, mashallah. He's not even 20 yet. But inshallah, he's going to be in Latin America next year giving dawah with the brothers and speaking fluent Spanish,
Of
inshallah.
course. Make sure to support me on Patreon.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, get some new equipment. You can make some really good videos. If your videos are this good with basic equipment, you know, if you get some heavy duty stuff, inshallah, you'll go very far.
Inshallah, brother. But yeah, remember to send me the number to that guy who does like Quran stuff. I might ask him about Zip's law, and we may be able to. Maybe I'll make a video on it if he confirms it.
Brilliant. All right. Jazakallah
Yeah.
khair.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That was really nice speaking to Ian. Okay, so let's speak to some more brothers and sisters. Yan, I can fund you. Well, go over to Yan's channel and support, inshallah. So there is the link for anybody that wants to join. You know, one of the things I was thinking about, right, is that it sounds really funny, but I don't really like doing public talks anymore. Like going to a venue and talking, and I don't know why. I just, and even people invite me, I just don't want to do it. But for some reason, sitting in the office and like talking to you guys and giving you the link, and I don't know, like I just really like doing that, and I like talking to random people, people I haven't spoken to before, and just having a chat. So yeah, do join the live stream, and this is something I'm going to do more often. Interesting. What happens is when we send out the link, usually it gets flooded with people joining, and right now there's like 370 or whatever people watching, and no one's joining the link, thinking, what's going on? No one wants to talk to me. What is going on, brothers and sisters? I should consider getting mods. Yes. I don't know how to do that. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to technology. I have no idea how to do that. Anyway. Ugh. Time to eat a date to get some energy. Who's looking forward to Ramadan? You need to. So we got brother Abdullah who's joined us in the studio. Can you please switch on your camera for a second in the background so I can see you're a real person, because we've had some issues in the past. Brother's gone. Okay. Brother Abdullah, can you switch on your camera from the background before I make you join the studio? Why some people claim that natural selection is the driving force of everything, thus negating the idea of God, whereas we can say God regulating the universe using natural selection. Okay, this is a good question. Let's break it down. God, Allah, can create by primary causation or secondary causation. Okay, what that basically means is Allah can create directly or indirectly through processes. Either way, I mean, it's still directly, I mean, it's still Allah, but let's put it this way. Allah can create Adam and Allah can create you. Adam alayhi salam is a direct creation. You came through a mother, a father, you had grandparents through a natural process. So that creation of you, my friend, is a natural secondary causation, and Adam alayhi salam is a first causation. We can roll this back to the beginning of the universe, and we can put it from, I mean, let's just think of a few ways of slicing this onion. Allah created the universe with inbuilt laws which are there to facilitate life and facilitate the creation of all of the other processes, biological processes that allow us to live. So the double helix structure all the way up to the the origin of the body forms, all of these things hypothetically could have been generated through a natural evolutionary process which Allah created. Hypothetically, that could be the case. Did that happen is a different point. So we could say that Allah can never be undermined by any evidence that we discover in biology from a divine creator perspective. What new atheists try and do is they try and use Darwinism to undermine God's existence by using natural selection as a God replacer. And their venture fails because you can't say we've discovered a natural process. Whether that natural process is correct or not is another question. You can't say we've discovered a natural process, therefore it undermines something that is metaphysical, right? That's a really, I mean, it's a gap which is very hard to, what's the word? It's a logical gap in their thinking, in their reasoning. How is it that a natural process can undermine a metaphysical background, right? That there's a belief in the soul, there's a belief in minds, there's a belief in God. You know, how are these things undermined by a natural process? Okay, a few people have joined. So brother Abdul Kareem, if you can switch on your camera for a second so I can see you're a real person before I make you join. Yep, you can switch it off now. There you are, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, Abdul Kareem. What a beautiful name. How are you doing?
Salam. How are you, man?
Alhamdulillah.
I have a simple question.
Yes.
You know how we have free will, and also in the Quran it tells us that Allah plans everything, and Allah has and there's qadr, right? Allah plans everything, and we have free will. How do you reconcile that?
So in Islam, we believe we have free choices. In Islam, we believe everything is predetermined and it's been decreed for us from beforehand. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, the pen has been lifted and the ink is dry, meaning whatever was supposed to happen in your life has already been decreed for you. So what we would say as Muslims is this. We would say predestination and free will is a problem conceptually, whether you're a Muslim or you're not Muslim, whether you're an atheist, agnostic, Jew, whoever you are, it is a problem. How do we understand predestination and free will? It's a problem for all people. It's not just a Muslim problem. Islam gives you a particular solution, which is this. In Islam, we would take it step by step. We would first say, here is the reason why we believe God exists. Here is the reason why we believe the Quran is the word of God. So these two things, these two propositions we would establish. And then we would say, God has told us we have free will, and God has told us that everything is predetermined. Both of these things are 100% true. Logically, it's very hard to make sense of that, just like it is for other people, right? Atheists and others, they're still, they're still debating this. Yeah, how does free will and predetermination work? How does determinism work? We as Muslims would say it is true because Allah said so. Allah said we have the ability to make choices, and Allah says, I already know the choices you're going to make. But it's not the case that Allah has forced us to do everything that we're doing, right? And we don't have the ability to make good and bad choices. That Allah's just forcing us to do whatever we're doing. It's a really hard concept to understand, and people have spent thousands of years. We're talking about, going back to the earliest human civilizations having discussions. It's been a problem for all civilizations. However, Islam gives you a very simple solution, which is this. God has said we have free will, free choice, and God has said that everything is predetermined. And because God is the one that said it, we simply accept it. Think of it from another perspective. Right now, I cannot hear what is happening in Japan. I cannot see beyond this building. Likewise, my brain cognitively cannot understand certain concepts. My brain cannot comprehend 11 dimensions because we're only used to the 6 spaces, right? We're only used to the world that we live in. So there are cognitive limitations for us to understand certain things. Even today in quantum mechanics, we have the ability to observe a particle, and we know that it acts differently if it's observed. They are crazy things in quantum mechanics which logically aren't making sense to us, but we know that these things happen because we can observe them. So Islam teaches to submit to the idea that God has given us free will and he's given us predestination, and we are not supposed to constantly try and understand this because it is a problem, a logical sort of gap in our brains which we'll never be able to fully comprehend. And this is why when you get into deep discussions about qadr, you end up to the same positions that I'm elucidating right now, which is fundamentally it's about accepting that Allah's given us free will and he's given us predetermination. Does that make sense?
No. It was actually a good explanation. Thank you.
Okay. How old are you? You sound like a young person.
No, I'm not that young. I'm 19.
You're 19. That's young.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair
Where
enough.
are you calling in from?
London. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Which part?
Local. Lewisham, South London, Southeast.
Oh, South London. Yes. Okay. No, I'm from Northwest. We had a really nice dawah stall near Lewisham Mosque, not
Is it?
some years back. Yeah. Lewisham Mosque,
Yeah.
Allah, is you go there?
Yeah, I go there often. Yeah, that's my mosque. That's my local.
MashaAllah, that mosque, it's the best. Like
Yeah.
it's the best mosque in London.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because
But
it
that-
has so many different cultures, you know?
it's the cultures, it's the dawah, it's the community, it's
Yeah.
the brotherhood, sisterhood. Like that is one kicking mosque. That mosque,
Yeah.
mashallah. So how many years you been going there?
Ever since I was a kid. I literally went to a primary school there because there used to be a primary school, but they shut it down. Actually, I think they put it back up. I'm not sure, but I've been going there since maybe 5 years old. I don't even remember. So 5 years old, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It was good speaking to you, brother. Do you have any other questions?
Nah. Yeah, you've answered my question, especially that explanation, how you said. I actually can't remember what you said now.
You have to go back and watch it again.
No, I'll screen record it anyway, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I can go back to it.
Brilliant. It was good speaking to you, brother Abdul Kareem. May Allah bless you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay. We have brother Kalimullah. If you can please switch on your camera in the background before I get you to join the live stream, because I want to make sure that you're a real person, not a robot. Oh, brother Abdullah. Oh, yes. Now you can switch off your camera if you want to, or you can keep it on. It's up to you. Yeah, I've heard of this book. Yeah, Darwin's Bluff. I was actually listening to ID the Future podcast on this. It's a very interesting development. Salman Abbas. The best things in Ramadan, I'm sure you can watch a few lectures on, but I'll tell you something. There's some people on Eid, they're going to get a beat down. That's what I'm going to say. This is actually my cousin, Salman, who's last time he asked me to do a test. So, Assalamu alaikum, brother Kalimullah. How you doing?
Walaikum assalam, alhamdulillah. What about you?
Alhamdulillah. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Saudi Arabia.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Welcome.
Actually, I'm from Pakistan, from Quetta, Balochistan.
Oh, Balochistan. It's the only province I've never been to.
Okay, where are you from? Can I ask you?
I'm from Murray.
Okay, okay, nice.
You been to Murray?
I have been to Maria.
Okay, in Murray, you might have heard of a place called Bourbon.
Bourbon, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very high sort of place. So we're just after Bourbon is our village. That's
Okay,
where, yeah. That I love going there. It's such a beautiful place.
yeah, beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Brother Sabur, I have one question.
Yes.
I have the question that hasn't science posted problems for humans, or has it resolved problems? Compared to religion, has religion or science posted problems for human beings?
Firstly, I think it's someone said, I love how Sabur is ignoring the chat. I'm not actually ignoring the chat. The problem is there's too many comments. Sorry about that. So the thing is, science and religion shouldn't be pitted against each other. That has science done damage and has religion done more damage or less damage or whatever it is. Firstly, let's just look at science, right? Science is something which can benefit mankind, so it's a good thing. Medicine, exploration, there's so many things that science can help us do. Science was seen by the early Muslims as a fundamentally spiritual endeavor. It wasn't just to do with the world, it was to do with spirituality. So science has brought about immense benefits. Now, obviously, some scientific things, some development of the atomic bomb, which we can't I don't see anybody justifying why that's a good thing. It's made the world a lot more dangerous. Dangerous weapons being created, biowarfare, all these types of things. The invention of, say, the mobile phones, the creation of this type of technology has been a good thing, but then again, people can use it for bad. So it's a neutral thing, and I don't think we should split science and religion in which has done more damage. And anyway, when we're talking about religion, I don't think we should just say religion in general. I think we should say Islam, because has religion done damage? Yes. The Qurayshi people, right, the pagans, they were religious people and they did a lot of damage. The people of Pharaoh, they were religious people, they did damage to their own society. Communism is a religion. New atheism is a religion. So these things are basically religions, and they have done a lot of damage. So overall, I would say let's not pit science versus religion. It's a lot more deeper than that. Does that make sense?
Okay. I think the science or the research in the modern day research which we are doing nowadays isn't it jumping in unnecessary things? Layani, in Arabic we say layani.
Give me an example. Give me an example of what you're saying.
Right now I can't give you an example, but I think so that in the modern day research they are publishing papers in Pakistan, especially if you see they are doing research on unnecessary things. I think they are wasting their energy on such things.
I mean, look, a large part of the scientific community is working on medicines. That's a good thing. They're looking for the next penicillin, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
We are trying to understand the mystery of the universe. We're trying to understand what's happening in the oceans. All these things are good.
Yeah.
people wasting their time doing certain other things, that doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another question. Is there
Yeah.
is there comprehension in the modern day research? Is it comprehensive? Can it answer all the questions a human being has comes through his mind?
Yeah, so this is obviously something that I don't agree with. Science is not all comprehending. There are questions of meaning and purpose and value and metaphysics and maths and morality. These are not scientific questions, right? These are fundamentally rational questions beyond the grasp of the scientific method. Make sense?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome. You're welcome. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother Sayyid Ahmadullah, you would need to switch on the camera in the background before I put you into the studio. Bring you in. What propaganda? Oh, I'm trying to keep. Okay, brother. Yes, there you are. You can switch it on or off, and then I can put you in the chat. Assalamu alaikum, brother Sayyid. How you doing?
Wa alaikum salam, brother Subur. How are you? This is like I'm meeting a celebrity right now.
Oh, really?
I've
Well,
been listening to a lot of your podcasts with Firas Zahabi.
inshallah.
Yeah, I've been binging those, you know. So this is like a treat for me, mashallah.
That's good. Faraz is, mashallah, a legend.
Yeah. How have you been, brother Subur? Inshallah.
Very well. Very well. Alhamdulillah. What about yourself?
Alhamdulillah. Coping. I'm in the last
Where
year
you,
of Muslim.
where you calling in from?
Preston. It's near Manchester.
Preston. I'm trying to think. Yes, I've been to Preston.
No way. Whereabouts?
I don't know. I just remember I think I had a Dawah training course.
Okay, mashallah. Yeah. It's a small city. Subhanallah.
Yes. Near the train station, there's a mosque. I think I went there.
Yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about. There's a massive park there as well. But
It's like 10 years ago, so I can't tell you. I can't even tell you who I met down there.
I recently moved here, to be honest, from London.
Sorry?
I recently moved here from London with the family. Yeah.
Why would you move from London to Preston?
Because honestly, brother Sabur, it's a good change for the family, you know, especially my little brothers and so forth. The Muslim community here is very strong, mashallah, you know. We run the show, as we like to say. Over here, the Muslims run the show.
Preston. Interesting.
Alhamdulillah.
So,
I wanted to, I don't want to be getting carried away with the small talk, you know, but I wanted to speak to you about the certain, I want to get your perspective on how important do you think philosophical understanding is in today's society, and especially in today's dawah, because I feel like it's overlooked quite a bit when people are giving dawah. They give dawah in terms of just the basics. Of course, most people only need the basics. They have to start with the basics, but I feel like the most certain philosophical aspects are overlooked. What's your perspective on this?
yeah, I think firstly, all human beings, when I say all, I mean vast majority.
Yeah.
They don't need any sort of sophisticated philosophical arguments for anything. Not only we're talking about Islam, we're just talking about anything.
Yeah.
You know, if someone is trying to convince, if I'm a feminist and I'm trying to convince you of feminism, I'll just give you a few sound bites. If I'm a Marxist, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
So why is it if we're Muslims, we need to get much deeper?
Yeah.
However, when it comes to certain issues, like for example, the issue I'm dealing with, which is Darwinism, right? You would need to get into philosophy, you'd need to get into metaphysics, you'd need to look at, you know, some deep conceptual and theological issues, right?
Yeah.
That's when you'll need to get into it. But even then, say I'm talking to, I'll give you a snippet of a conversation I had with some random guy in Leicester Square. This guy said to me, "Oh, evolution shows there's no God," or something like this, right? I didn't get into the philosophy of science because I know he's a simple person.
Mhm.
I said to him, "How does evolution undermine God?" No, it doesn't. Like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need to get into, you know, homoplasy and this and that and methodological naturalism. Like, I don't need to do that. There's no need for that. It's just
Yeah.
unnecessary, right? Just stick to the basics. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer that human beings who are moral, who are sincere, they need very simple introduction to Islam. There's a
Yeah.
brother on this channel, very intelligent brother, mashallah. I interviewed him recently, Organbat, right? If you go back on my YouTube, you have a look. He's from Mongolia. I had a chat with him, and he converted to Islam. And his reason for converting to Islam were basically very simple. It was Tawheed. Someone told him that we only worship Allah and, you know,
Yeah.
who Allah is. That's it. And in my experience, I mean, I deal with, alhamdulillah, a lot of reverts. I get to meet them and stuff. People become Muslim because of these very simple, powerful concepts in Islam, right?
Yeah.
It's not actually all this philosophical stuff. That philosophical stuff is what you have in debates, what you have in discussions, what you have in this, you know, these types of things. But is it really that useful at a mass level, at a grassroots level, at a human level? I wouldn't think so.
Well, wouldn't you say it's important in terms of understanding Tawheed? For example, I keep referring back to Faraz Sahabi. For example, the video he has on Abrahamic experience, and the example he always gives based off the blind man that doesn't know about the color red. You see, up until that point, I had belief in Allah, but then when you think about those things, your belief turns into knowledge. Like he says, he knows Allah. You know, you understand where he comes from. I never understood that point when he usually would say, "I know Allah," until I understood that. Because once you realize, you understand your fitrah, like you realize that there is no other thing other than Allah. You know, it becomes you can't avoid it once you understand that. That's what I mean. What isn't it important to teach that to the masses?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. That, I would say, is not really the philosophy that I thought you were referring to. That's kind of just like understanding Islamic creed at a deep level,
Yeah.
right? Like, for example, we say La ilaha illallah,
Yeah.
right? And you take an average Muslim, what does it mean? Oh, La ilaha illallah means there's no God but God. And it's like you're taking such a heavy statement, such a powerful statement, a statement which ripped empires and created new empires, and you're translating it as, oh, there's no God but God. Think about it. Like, you should be able to speak for 10 minutes at least explaining what La ilaha illallah is.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the basic meaning is there, but I mean, at a deep level, explaining what it means. Now, ultimately, what does La ilaha illallah mean? It means there is no reality worthy of worship except Allah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah. There is basically nothing but Allah.
Yeah.
Everything is irrelevant. Everything is not important. Allah is the only one that is important. Allah is the only one that is worthy of worship. Allah is the only one who we should put our hope in, our trust in, our fear in. That's it.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, we don't understand this. So I know exactly what you're saying, that, you know, some of the ways that, you know, Faraz explains it, and, you know, Faraz is echoing what Muslim scholars have been saying for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Understanding true creed, you know, true understanding that, look, there is no power except Allah. There is no might except Allah. There is no force except Allah. There's nothing, not a leaf drops in the heavens and the earth except by Allah's permission. All these things, they can empower you.
Yeah.
Why is it that the Sahaba, right, they had a level of iman where they could pick up a stick and it could act as a sword, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They can go like Abdullah bin Umar went from the heat of Makkah,
yeah,
to the cold mountains near Russia. That's that's the power of Iman, how fast Islam spread, right? So I know exactly what you're saying, but I wouldn't say that's philosophy. I would say that's like authentic Islamic spirituality. That's what I would term
yeah,
it.
yeah. Subhanallah. Yeah. When you understand that, you realize that things like when Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, when he survived the fire, you understand how he survived the fire, because that's true tawheed. That's full belief in Allah, full knowledge that Allah exists, and there's no way that anything can harm me. Or when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam split the moon, these miracles start to somewhat make sense, because you understand how things work, or somewhat understand how things work.
I mean, look, all we need to understand is this: Allah created the laws of nature,
Yeah,
Allah created the universe, and Allah can do what He wants.
yeah,
So people are like, how does it make sense that Moses split the ocean or this or that? The thing is, look, Allah says, "Kun fayakun," done. Like
yeah, yeah,
logically, there's no problem.
yeah,
You have a problem because not you, but people have a problem because they are confined by this empiricist cage. I haven't seen it, therefore it's not true.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen many things.
A lot of things. Yeah,
Are you seeing the proteins that are folding in your body right now?
Yeah.
are you aware of how many bacteria exist in your gut? Are you aware of how exactly photosynthesis works? No one knows.
Yeah.
Like obviously you can look things up, but just because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean the reality is not there. So it's a lack of iman, really.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely the case. I was talking to someone recently, and they said what they were saying now, what you mentioned. They said, I don't believe in anything until I experience it. I said, did you experience? They said, I don't believe in reality unless I experience it. I said, you didn't experience reality when you were a 6-month-old baby or something. How do you know that you existed back then? So there's a lot of the problem, I think, is that we've surrounded ourselves with materialism, and like you mentioned, when that happens, we tend to link everything back to that and forget about the essence of things, which is la ilaha illallah. And
The kalama is something which we really need to internalize in a way that changes your life, because sometimes I feel Muslims are kind of living their lives as non-Muslims.
Yeah.
As in, the only part of their life that looks like different to non-believers is praying.
Yeah.
Well, so they will perform the prayer, be pedantic about certain details, and they'll forget that the theological aspects of Islam, which are supposed to move you, are not there.
Yeah.
So it may be like, they may have knowledge of certain things, but when it comes to, for example, okay, now I finished my prayer, now I'm about to go towards my job, I'm a salesman, I'm this, I'm that, I need to have tawakkul, I need to have hope, I need to have fear in Allah, I need to not look at this haram thing, I need to enjoy the right, forbid the wrong. Like, ultimately your behavior, your mindset, your mindfulness, none of that is there. It's like they pray, after the prayer until the next prayer is like no Islam, right?
Yeah.
Islam is supposed to be 24/7. It's a mindset. It's you understanding that you should be in a constant state of being remembering Allah. You should try and work towards being in a state where you are thinking about, say, the love of Allah, having hope in Allah, having fear of Allah, right? Hoping. Sometimes people just talk about love and hope, they forget fear. Fear is also important, because human beings, right? If you just give human beings good news and not bad news, if you give them, say, the carrot and not the stick, human beings are very stubborn. Human beings don't change. They actually need the fear of punishment, and they actually need the anticipation of reward to change. Both those things actually have to work together.
Yeah. We've become Muslims with our senses. We we give our money, we fast with our stomachs, we pray with our limbs, you know. And when we read the Quran, I mean, especially the Asian community, I wouldn't be surprised if 90 to 80% of the Asian community that call themselves Muslims have read the Quran's meaning front to back, you know. I'd be surprised if they have. It's probably way less than that, to be honest. And this is why it all leads back to one thing, you know. We're Muslim, like you mentioned as well, but we're just Muslim. We've become Muslim by name. We pray, we fast, but it's with our senses. It's not with our heart. The Quran doesn't go down, pass down our throat, you know. It doesn't reach our heart. So this is the problem. I don't want to take up your time.
No. You know, when you were talking, I was thinking about the Quranly app.
Yeah.
It's such a simple app, and you said you'd be surprised if most of us have never read the Quran in a language that we understand. It's so true.
Yeah.
And why do people wait until they get old and then start reading the Quran? And for the first time, they're reading Surah Rahman with translation when they're old.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
You spent all your life, right? You
Yeah.
wasted so much time, and the Quran is supposed to be a book of guidance, a book of that's there to give you joy and hope and love and hope and fear and trust. You know, all this stuff. You lived in complete famine of spiritual famine all your life, and then when you're old, you're trying to cram it all in before you die. It doesn't make any sense.
It's weird though, isn't it? The person who is close to Allah, when he reads the Quran, I don't know, personally, this is how it affects me. When I'm close to Allah, when I've been close to Allah, very close to Allah, when I read the Quran, you feel joy. But when you're further away from it and you read the same surah, you feel fear, you know. Let's say you've missed the prayer and then you read that same surah's meaning, then you feel fear. It has a wonderful effect on the human heart, you know. But we're too busy. We've become too busy for God in today's world. Subhanallah, you know.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother Sayyid, for
Alright.
joining the live stream.
Alright.
Inshallah, do it again.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Okay, brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed that live session. You know, this is something I want to do more often, inshallah. I really enjoy talking to you guys and speaking about very important topics. In about 4 days' time, we are going to enter the month of Ramadan. And in this month, please, brothers and sisters, download this app, get used to it. This is a Quran habit building app. It's life-changing. Trust me, it's changed my life. It is life-changing. Please start using it. It's fantastic. Keen Golding is saying, you like praying? Absolutely. Why not? We were created to worship God. We were created to worship God, and worshiping God leads to happiness. The inner peace that you feel, you will not feel that inner peace by doing anything. Like if I was to do anything right now in the world, right, I could go do whatever I want. Someone puts $1 billion in my account, gives me 20 years, do whatever you want all across the world. You have no responsibilities in your head. Whatever I do, all of those 20 years of pleasure-seeking hedonism is not equivalent to the joy and the happiness that you would feel when you bow down to the one who created you. Because the one who created you for that very purpose. So human beings, we have a thirst for love of God. We have thirst for a connection with God, and that connection comes through praying. Praying, if you think from a distance, oh, they're praying, it looks boring, whatever. No. If you experience it, it's mesmerizing. It is electrifying. It's something which, you know, imagine somebody who, like, ask a Muslim who's been praying all his life and then ask him, you know, okay, now you're not allowed to pray for the next 10 years. See the look on his face. The joy and the happiness that you feel by being connected to your God, by being connected to Allah, is not something that you can get through anything else that you do in your life. This brother, mashallah, I was about to end, but a brother called Marwan just joined. I thought, why not? Mashallah, where are you calling in from?
Assalamu alaikum. It's Marwan. We used to work back in the days on Daniel Denbridge's case. I hope you
Yes,
remember. Yeah,
yeah,
we worked together a
yes.
bit. So truly hope you're well.
Mashallah, you've grown a thicker beard since last time. I didn't recognize you.
Yeah. It's been a while actually. I got married. I just a lot was going on. So yeah, calling from France. And yeah, just happy to see your face. Just I was just happy to see that. So yeah, and I also had another question for you.
Yes.
First of all, just wanted to know how it's going for you. How's your family? Hope you're well and all that stuff.
Alhamdulillah, very well. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So I had this question about. Well, I asked it earlier, but Brother Jan, mashallah, may Allah keep him, just connected, and he just interrupted the flow. But I had this question about interbreeding among hominid species, and how do you see it in the Islamic perspective? Meaning that, when scientists speak about interbreeding among hominid species, they usually, I struggle with that a bit because they say that, for example, Neanderthals and Denisovian and Sapiens just were related and just interbred. And from the Adamic perspective, I was wondering, well, okay, we don't know how far we can go back regarding the creation of Adam, alayhi wasalam. But I was wondering because, in the scientific perspective, there's this interrupted flow of interbreeding, of lineage, of common ancestry between all these hominid species. And as far as you know, obviously, we believe in the miraculous creation of Adam. And so how do you see that in terms of the Islamic perspective, meaning that we believe that we are a part of this evolutive lineage? And regarding DNA and genetics analysis comparison, how do you see it from the Adamic perspective?
Yeah, I mean, look, firstly, there's no disputing of the data, right? So if, for example, there's a sequence that you get from a human being and you get it from a chimpanzee and there's a certain level of correlation, no disputing that. There are fossils of Homo naledi or Denisovans or whatever, no disputing that. Human beings currently, what our experience of them is that all human beings are born from a natural reproductive cycle of involving a male and a female and all of that. All of these things are not what I'm talking about. These are all accepted.
Yeah.
The interpretation of those things to make the inference that human beings are linked to other primates is something which is not concrete. It's something which can be done using the data, but it's not something inferentially you could say it's 100%, right? You could just say it's a logical inference based upon this data that we have, assuming there's no supernatural intervention. Our perspective is we look at all this data, but we also have other points of input. We don't just believe, for example, like a naturalist would want to believe that there's only one origin of life, because two origins of life, like for them, life is very unlikely. This is why it has to be one. There has to be one origin.
All right.
From a theistic perspective, God can create millions of origins. So we don't have to have one. Secondly, when it comes to transitions, a naturalist would believe, well, all of life has to be in a form of transition, going back to the universal common ancestor, and there's only one origin. A Muslim doesn't have to believe that because they have a different background assumption. We believe in the supernatural. Likewise, we also believe in divine action. We believe God has created the laws of the universe, but God can also intervene, right? God can also do miracles. So from their perspective, they can come up with a naturalistic story, but from our perspective, we can come up with a different story, right? And it's not the case that science is with them and not with us, because we're both using the same data points. Do you see? So that's
I
the
get
way
it.
I would summarize it. Yeah.
All right. So when you see that kind of studies that compare the DNA which leads scientists to say, oh, this species of hominids and the sapiens have interbred, we can't say that's conclusive, meaning that they actually interbred. We can interpret that in another way from our perspective.
Okay, that's something slightly different. That's something slightly different. Let's just talk about interbreeding. Okay.
All right.
Now, the question is, when we say humans, do we mean the same thing when scientists say humans?
Mm-hmm.
Our definition of a human is not the same as what the scientific community would refer to as a human. They would call Homo naledi, Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and us humans. We would say humans are the children of Bani Adam. Sorry, the children of Adam, Bani Adam. Are Neanderthals the children of Adam alayhi salam? Now, bear in mind that Neanderthals are not those club-wielding, stupid creatures that they try and make. They're pretty intelligent, right? They're pretty smart. They had culture, they had language, they had tools. Are they Bani Adam? We don't know. Now, the view that they are not Bani Adam, they evolved by natural evolutionary processes and they're linked to primates. And Bani Adam is a separate group and then they interbred, right?
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't believe that.
Right.
I think that's something very difficult to Islamically justify, personally, right? I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? I don't think it makes any sense to me. Going back to this particular issue of interbreeding, it wouldn't even be interbreeding if they were Bani Adam to begin with. They were just a different type. They were a different tribe. Like when you have an African reproducing with a Chinese person, you don't call that interbreeding because they're both human, right? Likewise, if Neanderthals are Bani Adam, we would not say they are, interbreeding. We would simply say there's natural reproduction, right? So I think that's the way to explain it. Either way, Marwan, I don't think it's an argument like we can decisively solve. Theologically, it's not something that should keep us awake at night because either way, we have an answer for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense but I'm also inclined that Bani Adam did not interbred with Neanderthals. But the thing is that they have studies, that shows that 40,000 years ago, they've been interbreeding between sapiens and Neanderthals. And before that, they've been interbreeding between Neanderthal and Denisovans. So I'm wondering how can we, to be intellectually satisfied, how do we conceive the creation of Adam, meaning that there are these studies that shows that they were interbreeding between sapiens and Neanderthals 40,000 years ago, which is quite early. I mean, if we're talking about the Homo sapiens species, which goes back to
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, but where I would disagree with you, Marwan, is I would disagree with the term early, right? With the term early. When did Adam al-Islam exist Islamically?
We don't know.
Exactly. Is it 10,000, 100,000, a million? When is it? Is it like, how far back does it go? We don't know, right? All we know is from an Islamic perspective, we can never accept Adam alayhi salam is linked to other primates. That's it. Everything else is possible, right? It's all elastic. So what I try and do when I'm debating, I just want to show people that evolutionary theory, the Darwinian variety of it or any other, cannot undermine God's existence. And we as Muslims, we can accept whatever scientific theory, the current Darwinian one, as science, but we don't have to accept it to be 100% true. Secondly, the creation of Adam is a miracle, and that's a red line that we do not give in to the Darwinists and say, yeah, you know, he's linked to other primates. That's it. Other than that, you know, the link between, okay, were Denisovans also Bani Adam? I don't know. They may have been. Do you understand?
Yeah, no, I completely get it. It's just that when I've been reading the studies, I was saying to myself, well, if they found that they were interbreeding between sapiens and Neanderthals, for example, in 45,000 years ago, it means that Adam has been created before that, you know, before that interbreeding, you know.
Which by the way is for us a door which is open. We can't close that door.
Of interbreeding?
No, not interbreeding. There is no okay, let's put it another way because we can get mixed up in terms. If Adam alayhi salam predated the Denisovans and Denisovans are Bani Adam, there is no interbreeding because they're all Bani Adam. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get it. It's just that I completely get it. It's just that it confused me because I was saying, okay, if they were interbreeding like 45,000 years ago, it means that Adam has been created after that interbreeding, because we can't accept that interbreeding, you know.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, but if tomorrow there's studies that show that they were interbreeding, for example, 20,000 years ago, because I think that the latest study shows that Neanderthals extinct like 20,000 years ago in Europe, on Eurasia, I will say, okay, so that changes the timeline, you know. And 20,000 years ago, I think that's the apparition of modern humans as we know them today, no?
No. I mean, the dates fluctuate, but some people push it back far beyond 100,000.
All right, but those dates, it's not modern humans, it's just sapiens, no? Because modern humans are more evolved from them than sapiens, no?
The thing is, say the sapiens that were running around, sapient creatures that were running around that were anatomically not as modern as us, right? 100,000 years ago.
Right.
Are they Bani Adam or not? We don't know.
We don't know, yeah.
You see?
All right. No, I get it. So what will be your bulletproof advice to just discard all of that and just not to, you know, keep your heads on it and overthink on it?
Well, what I would do is go back to the original point which I made. We're not disagreeing about the scientific observations. We just have a different inference because we have different metaphysical beliefs to them. For them, a single origin is the most logical possibility because they don't believe in God. And it's so unlikely. Life is so unlikely. We smash that door. We don't believe in that. We believe in Allah. You know, kun fayakun, we can have many different origins, right? Yeah. Likewise, when it comes to Adam alayhi salam, right? Allah says kun fayakun, done. Done. That's it. So we have different metaphysical beliefs because they're constrained by the naturalistic cage. They're stuck in that epistemic rut. That's their fault, right? They'll come up with very limited explanations for what's possible, and we obviously, you know, we can actually look at the data and come up with something different. We don't have to agree with them. And someone can turn around and say you're being unscientific. Actually, we're not being unscientific. We simply are accepting Darwinism is the best naturalistic explanation. But does that mean it's the only logical possibility that can be inferred from the data? No.
All right, I get it. So, but all right, yeah, it makes sense. And the last question for you on that specific topic is that can we challenge the conclusion of these studies between DNA comparison by saying, for example, it can be due to evolutive convergence? That's the term, no?
Yeah, I mean, we can, but look, put it this way. It's a question that I put to one of these Darwinist speakers corner, right? If we are anatomically similar to other primates, why wouldn't we be genetically similar? It's just you.
I get it. All right. All
It
right.
makes sense, right?
All right.
It's not like the only person who noticed was similar to chimpanzees or other primates is Darwin. This is known for hundreds of years.
All right. All right. So okay. That's a sort of genetic reductionism, and we don't want to fall into that.
I mean, what it is, we cannot accept this idea that the only inference based on the data that's possible is that humans and chimpanzees have a common ancestor. They can have that inference, no problem.
All right.
But we have reasons to believe that that's not the case. Now, they can say, we are assuming homology. Fine. Don't tell us it's a conclusion. Don't tell us it's definitive. Tell us, yeah, you're going to make that inference based upon the assumption of homology. No problem. Do that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even talking about primates per se, but more about this DNA comparison to conclude that they were interbreeding, you know?
Yeah.
But the homology fallacy also works for that kind of study, or that's completely a different topic?
I mean, it's not a different topic. We can say, you know, there's convergence, there's this, there's that. We can do those
All right.
things.
All right.
Um,
all right.
yeah.
All right. Well, Barakallahu Fik, Sabor, it was great just to see your face. And
It
yeah,
was.
just to conclude that exchange, just to say that I love you as an uncle, because you helped me a lot throughout my life, and yeah, I got married and all that stuff, and I prayed for you sometimes, because yeah, you helped me a lot, and yeah, just want to say Barakallahu Fik. And in the future, if you work again on case such as Daniel Dunbury, all that case, hit me up. I will always be there, inshallah, for you to help. So
Jazakallah
that's
khair.
it.
Thank you so much. It's nice for you to join me. And that beard suits you. I didn't recognize you. In the beginning.
I see that you grown your hair. It suits you very well.
Yes. COVID.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, Sabor.
All right. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. All right, brothers, sisters. I've been live for like an hour, 40 minutes. It was great, fantastic speaking to you. May Allah bless you. I'll be live again next time, inshallah. And going back again, Quranly app. Guys, you have to download this app. It's a fantastic habit building app. We need to be connected to the Book of Allah. You've got English translation, Russian, Bengali, all these different translations on there. So enjoy. And even read 3 verses a day, and it has reminders for you when you're zombie scrolling, so you can stop zombie scrolling and start reading at least 3 verses a day. All right, everybody, love you all. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.